In this video, I will show you how to put together this fairy door card, which is a free SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. So this is a fun card. It is a free SVG from Simply Crafty SVGs, one of our many. And I'm going to show you how to put this together. So you just need to go to simplycraftysvgs.com and you can get this or other freebies. Just look for the freebies section. So this fairy fairy door card, it's just a cute little card that could be used for any occasion. I do have some options. So this is the way that the door will be with the trim, but there's also a different option. If you wanted to, if you go to the extra stuff folder, you can get one, just this little door edge, just the alternate door edge if you don't want the trim. So this was a fun, more of a spring type thing. You can see the little doorknob, the little glittery doorknob. But it's just, the card just opens up like that. So it's just a cute, quick card, and is in A2. It's an A2 size, which is 4.25 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. So it'll fit into an A2 envelope, which we do have a free one in our basic envelope set online. So that's it. So that's one. I'm just going to use this for maybe a thank you or a birthday, just something fun. So let's go ahead and put it together. So what I want to do first is get some of the inking out of the way. So I like to ink it a little bit on the edge. So I did it on this one already a little bit. So you can see it's a little bit darker. And I did a couple of these pieces. So let me see. The ones I haven't done yet are the green flower pieces, but you can see these are all the different pieces. I put used a little walnut stain on the edge of that, so I'll show you how I did that using the green pieces, which are the leaf. And then these, I put a little orange spice marmalade, which is a distress oxide. So I'm going to place those in there. Let's see, I'm missing, okay, those little dots are the middles of the flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out. Put those away, and I already inked these. So let's go ahead, I'll show you. So this is just so I can ink on it. So I'm going to start with the walnut stain. We're just going to ink this a little bit. So I like to have like extra scrap paper to ink on, so I don't get it on my desk. My desk's not one of those that I want to stain. So I'm just going to go ahead. This is Distress Oxide Walnut Stain. The way I usually do it, and I'm using these little finger brushes, I just kind of start with some on there, and you might have to put a little bit more, get the excess off. And it really is to taste, and it's just that kind of the outline, especially since it's going to sit on the the door. Once I get this inked a little bit, we can check it and see how it really creates that. Be careful, it can buckle like that. I'm gonna go inside too, so I need to really ink this. So right there. I just like it. A lot of people go, why do you use inking? Well, it just kind of gives it more dimension, and sometimes you can blend different colors in too. I'm not the best at doing this, but over the years I know what I like, so it's just a matter of what you like. So let's go ahead and just check it. So it just kind of gives it a little, this is kind of a fairy door. I just wanted to look so it would pop a little bit on the edges, so that's good enough for that. So the other thing we need to ink is what I want to also note that I did ink the edge of this. Since this is going to be a panel behind, I just inked it because I had printed this particular paper, and when I cut it, it had a white edge, so I just wanted to tone it down. So that's another thing I use ink for. So I'm going to close this. Let's go ahead, I'm going to go to the black. So these are the iCrafter little finger brushes. Sometimes they're not small enough for the purpose I want, but most of the time it is. So I'm going to just ink around the edges a little bit. And the reason is because we have a little green piece that we're going to put over it. This is going to layer over there, so I want to be able to see this edge right here. So it's just not much, it's just enough to give it a little dimension. Oops, I also want to do this piece too. I used a brick, I'm going to just put that right there. I used a brick embossing folder on this to get some dimension. So I'm just going to go lightly around the edges. What I'm going to do is go around the edges and then a little bit on top. So when it's getting lighter, I'm just going to brush it on top so it picks up some of the embossing details. So it makes it just a little bit darker. So it was a brick. This is the one I used, Sizzix Tim Holtz Alterations embossing folder, which is brick. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And we'll start putting it together. Okay, so now that we have all these pieces, we're going to first piece together these really small pieces. I'm just going to go ahead and, we don't need that, take these flowers out. So that'll go like that, and then the little flowers will go on the top. Then the mushroom. So let's go ahead and do the mushroom. So I did put, I don't know if you can see that, but a little clear accent on there. So it's one of these pens. I think it's this one. It's a clear glaze, which I just kind of dotted it and just so it shines, but it's clear. So it gives it a, it's a glaze pen. You can look them up, but this is clear, and so you can put like a clear accent on text or things like this. And I also inked this a little bit. So the way it goes, I accidentally started the ink there. I don't need it. I have this top piece right here. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and get this little pin out of my way. It's for my glue. I'm going to add glue to this, kind of knowing where those tops are going to go. So we're going to take the big piece first. And so since I inked the edges of both of them, you'll be able to see the edge here when I overlap it to create a little dimension. You could always pop it up too if you wanted to do like foam tape. And then just line it up. So we're just getting these details done first. Then we can take the flower. Make sure when you do this, this has like little tiny cutouts. Make sure you get all those out. So there's one right, so looking at this, make sure I use like a little pick or something to get them out if I need to. Same things like what you would weed. This is a different type of pick, straight one, but you could always use things that used to weed vinyl. So you could always add glue to the back of this or directly on there. So I'm going to do the flower. And I could do it, I could actually do this without this piece, but I like the dimension of this edge. So it shows it overlapping. So that's the reason why I like it. Just going to line it up. So if you can see, it shows a little dimension right here. Shows the stem in front. And then again, I could have made these separate flowers, but I chose not to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually glue on this. You can put it on the back of the flowers too. So if you do like this freebie, this card, I always ask if you can give me a like or thumbs up on the video, and or subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. So you'll be notified if you hit that little notification bell to the right. If you subscribe, you'll be notified when we have new videos, new projects, free and paid. So after we line those up, so just make sure you line them up. That's why I like wet glue, because it's easy to line them up. And I since I inked this edge a little bit too, it's causing a little bit more dimension when it's on top of each other. Because you can see I wanted the flower in front. And then we're going to put these little middles in. So you could put something like Nouveau drops or something like that. So on this one, I didn't put the middles. I just used a medium, which this was a Nouveau clear drop that was kind of slightly yellow, instead of using these middles. So you could put enamel dots, so whatever fits on there. Or there's lots of things. Glitter glue, drops. So I'm going to put the real middles here. Oops, here's the pick-me-up stick. It has a little sticky end. Just lightly pick it up and place it. Make sure you don't, if you're using this, you don't really push really hard, because that little sticky stuff comes out. I think it's the same stuff that if you stick things to walls like a putty. So I get it in place and then turn this around and really fine tune it. And I'm going to add a little clear Nouveau drops to it when I'm done. So now we have those together. Those are the time consuming. So let's go ahead and put start to put this together here. So let's go ahead and we'll put the card aside. So the card just simply folds in half like that. So that's the front. The back won't have the flower and the mushroom. So let's go ahead and line this, put this on, and you could add glue either to this part or here. Just don't go too far out. Just kind of eyeball how far out you can go. Don't go too close to the middle, just kind of go in the middle. Don't get close to the openings, I would say. If you didn't want to add this accent, you wouldn't have to, or you could use that alternate. Instead of using this piece and this piece, you could always use this one right here. That's the extra stuff folder. So now I'm just going to line it up. Jiggle it into place. I'm just going to flip it over and make sure it's lined up well. You'd be able to see it if it wasn't. Then we'll add this piece. So this is a pattern piece. Just go ahead, your piece, this is exactly, but I made it a little bit smaller so you wouldn't accidentally overlap and go over this. So just make sure you're covering the area. So you'll want to add glue, not to this, you want to add it, I'm going to show you how far down it goes. It goes to this, because I didn't want it to go all the way down. So you can add glue right here. You don't have to go all the way to the edge. Always be careful of the openings. We don't want to get glue on the pattern paper. So now I'm placing this upside down. I'm going to line it up towards the top. It gives me a little wiggle room because I didn't put glue too close to the edge. I'm going to flip it over, making sure that none of it shows. And you'll have an easier time of it because I made this exactly the same size as this, and I made that modification. I didn't want to recut it, but you won't have a problem. You'll just have a slight edge, so it won't go all the way to the side. Then we can go ahead and add this. So the way it's going to go is like this. It's going to line up there and there, and then this will go over it. So we're almost finished. Just gonna add some little sticky tape to the back of this, which is just foam tape. I do like Scotch foam tape if I am using a different one. But we'll put that on after we put the flower in this, the flower and the mushroom. So I'm just gonna have to, I'm not gonna guess how far down to glue, so I'm just gonna go like this. So I only did it where that leaf was. This is the little flower already, and then I'll just add a little glue here. Just getting it lined up with using the leaf first, and then I'll line it up on the back. Oops. So it does have some dimension. This should just be a fun card for a thank you, birthday, just generic. I'm not adding, I'm just going to add the glue here. I'm going to line it up there and then this little edge here. Then I'm going to pop this on. So this should be lined up with this bottom part. And I could have put that on after I glued it onto the card. But the last step, and you could have done part of this on the card, is to glue this. So we're going to go like that, line it all up. So the difference is make sure you don't put glue on the back of this. Put glue on the back of this because it doesn't go all the way up. The round piece doesn't go all the way up. So if you put glue on the back of the other one, you'll get glue where you don't need it. If you ever need help figuring out how to get this in your machine, all that help's on our website, just under help at the top menu, for how to use it with Cricut and Silhouette, the most common machine, Scan and Cut. So I have to be careful. I'm going to go sideways because I do better sideways. I'm just going to line it up here, starting with the flowers and the bottom piece. I'm going to jiggle it into place. Line it up. Make sure it's lined up on the other side. And usually on the back side you'll be able to see it pretty well. Because I put that foam tape on first, that's hard. That's the part where I have to kind of rub it a little bit more. So that's it. Let's go ahead and just add a little doorknob. I'm going to use, I believe I'm going to go see if I have a good enamel dot for that. So usually I'm prepared, but I think I'm going to give it a little pop of color with a ladybug colored enamel dot. So this is Doodlebug Design Sprinkles, just enamel dots. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to place it there. The first one I did it on that side. Let's do it on the right. You could really use anything that you have. You could use dots or perler beads or something like that. So the only last thing I want to add to it, and it's pretty much finished, like that. It's a cute card, I think. I'm going to add a little, this is Nuvo Crystal Drops, which is Morning Dew. And what this says is just, I'm going to add dimension to the middle of the flowers. So I have the color in the back, so it'll dry clear. That's why I want to do it last, because I don't want to move it around a lot after I get it done. It's just a fun way to make it dimensional. Easy. So that's it. That's the finished card. And again, there's an alternative edge here, so you can make it just add different pattern papers. The reason I like this one and why I added this as an alternative is because some people might want to use fun pattern paper. I was gonna go for like a pure rainbow, but I found this and I thought, oh, that's like, I know it's not springtime, but it was just fun with the flowers. If you do like this again, if you could go ahead and give me a little thumbs up, I so appreciate you watching, and thank you so much.